Hey, my divine feminine leaders. Welcome to the final day, day 7 of the Soul Reset series. I'm just glad you made it, and I just really want to honor this space that you've created for yourself this week. You chose to get still, you chose to tune in, you chose to listen to your internal voice, to your intuition, and to do this soul reset. And so today, if you've put in the work, if you've done all 7 days, if you've done the soul assignments and downloaded your soul reset workbook, then you should be able to ask this question. You should be able to ask yourself, are you hiding from the life you asked for? Again, I want you to ask yourself the question, are you still hiding from the life that you asked for? We are going to get into that question and more on the final day of the Soul Reset series. All right, so I hope you took some time and you breathed in on that question and you breathed out on that question because you needed to inhale the truth and you needed to exhale the fear. So, whether you answered yes or no to that question, again, I just want you to honor the fact that you showed up for yourself this week. On day 1, we asked ourselves if our bodies were blocking our blessings and if our nervous systems were regulated and we were ready to receive. On day 2, we explored our soul contracts and asked ourselves about the relationships that we may or may not be holding on to and how we can release those and recognize our own spiritual growth. On day 3, we connected to our wombs and not just as caretakers, but as portals for pleasure, for passion, for purpose. On day 4, we called out our shrinking habits and our visibility wounds, and we reclaimed space as our birthright. On day 5, we got honest about our money and whether or not we're spending like queens or martyrs, the martyrs of our lives. On day 6, yesterday, we returned to our sacred homes, to our sacred bodies, and we talked about worthiness and creating softness and praise for our bodies. And on day 7, we are going to talk about our divine destinies as divine female leaders, the version of you that is no longer afraid of being seen. And so today I'm going to skip right into that spiritual tool because I really want us to recognize that our visibility wounds are keeping us from actually getting the life that we're asking for. And what I want you to center yourself on is that even if you haven't written down your dream life, even if you haven't used your soul reset workbook to go ahead and write down your dream life, you are still asking for your dream life every day when you are daydreaming about what you want, when you are thinking about it, when you are praying about it, when you're seeing somebody else living the life that you want and you're like, oh, I wish I was doing that. You're asking for it every day. So whether or not you've done the thing and actually asked, written it down or spoken it aloud for the life you want, you are asking for it every day. You're asking for it in your day-to-day yearnings for the life that you want. And so let's talk about releasing the fear that is keeping us away from our power, away from our visibility, and away from our purpose. And I think the best way to do that is really to examine your ninth, 10th, and 11th houses in astrology. I like to call those houses the destiny houses because they're at the top of your astrology chart for a reason. Because the top of your astrology chart really deals with who you are in the outside world, whereas the bottom deals with who you are to yourself and to those close to you. And so when we look at our our ninth house in particular, as divine female leaders, the ninth house is all about your spiritual expansion and your belief system. It is ruled by Sagittarius, and it is all about your higher learning. It's about the things that you have been brought here to teach, and it's about really linking up with what it is you are here to understand about the world, taking the trips and doing the traveling that you need to do. In what ways have you not allowed yourself to expand? I like to call sometimes the ninth house the Jupiter house because it's all about expansion. It's all about being here to be a leader and how you can expand through teaching and through truth telling. And if you happen to be a person who has Sagittarius in the ninth house, then you are here to be a leader. And even if you have Virgo in your ninth house, then that means you're here to be a leader through precision and wellness and sacred systems. So really examining that ninth house, seeing what planets might be taking up space there. If you have Pluto in your ninth house, then that means you're going to go through a lot of transformations in your life around what you learn. You might actually become somebody who is a constant student of life because you're constantly rebirthing and transforming in the area of higher learning. Your 10th house. So, well, let me just go back to your ninth house really quickly. So if you are in a 9 year, because we are in a 9 year this year, and for many of us, a lot of things are ending. But as simultaneously as things are ending, things are typically also beginning. So you may be thinking about going back to school or something. I would really ask you that if that is something you're considering, taking up some type of new skill set or learning something new or getting a mentor, go examine your ninth house and see who rules it, because that's going to give you a lot of information around who or what you should actually be doing. Then we can go ahead and look at our 10th house. Our 10th house shows us our legacy. It shows us our purpose. It also shows us our public image. Again, going back to that theme of visibility, because the 10th house is all about visibility. We've talked a lot in the past on my YouTube channel about the IC-MC axis and how the IC, that line that goes straight from the top of your chart to the bottom of your chart, is actually on the cusp of the 4th house at the bottom and the 10th house at the top. And the reason that line exists is because it's telling you what your childhood was like and how, as an adult, you're basically going to come up out of any type of childhood wounds that you might have. And so in your 10th house, what you really want to look for is your legacy and your purpose. And you also want to look for how you were supposed to show up in the world. If you are a 10th house Capricorn, if Capricorn is ruling your 10th house, then that means you're a builder of empires and sacred structures, because you have that earth grounding that Capricorn has, but you're also very task oriented and you know how to get jobs done. You know how to create systems and you know how to build things. If you have Aquarius ruling your 10th house, then you're here to innovate and to bring future forward change. And that's even if you have Uranus in your 10th house. And that also is the exact same meaning, because Uranus and Aquarius are very similar energies. And so you're here to innovate and you're here to bring change to the future. You may be somebody that is very focused on technology and how to bring new technologies to the world. So again, our astrology charts aren't just about our horoscope and finding out who you love and who you want to be in relationship with, but it's also about really leaning into this thing of who are you and how should you be showing up in the world. If you Let's move into our 11th house and talk about that. The 11th house, it really governs our community and our movements and the impacts that we make in the world. It governs our social, our small groups that we're a part of, and the communities that we're a part of. So if you have Libra in the 11th house, like I do, that means you are a bridge builder. You're here to help other people find their way. You're here to help, you're here to unite people. And that's through the guise of beauty and justice and the things that are right in the world. Because Libra is all about creating balance. It's all about righting the wrongs. And so if you have a Libra taking up space in your 11th house, or even if you have Mercury taking up space in your 11th house, then a lot of that is just about communicating and creating systems for people to be able to build bridges to one another. If you have Aries taking up space in your 11th house, and that means you're here to lead fearlessly, like really with your identity, to lead fearlessly and to initiate change that wakes up the collective consciousness. So again, taking a look at these destiny houses, the 9th house, the 10th house, the 11th house, and your astrology chart can really help you to understand who you are and how you are meant to show up in the world, not just to yourself as you do your soul reset, but the whole purpose of the soul reset is not just for us to dwell inside of our bodies, but it's also for us to be able to take what we learn about ourselves and to be able to expand that out into the world. And so doing this work the last 7 days, I really want you to focus in on asking yourself, are you really exhausted? Or have you just been living outside of your power for way too long? Sometimes what we call burnout is actually us backing away from our own brilliance, because we've gotten so tired of doing the things that don't feed us, that are not feeding us to show up in the world in the way that we know we should show up in the world. And so that's what the burnout is coming from. Again, I want to remind you that I have created a tool for you to go deeper called the Soul Reset Workbook. You can go ahead and download that at the link in the captions. If you're here on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I'll be doing more of these series just about every month to help you divine feminine leaders to reclaim your soul so that you can show up in the world in the way that makes sense for you, and in a way that is going to make you be able to help other people, and help people get soulfully aligned, including yourself. And so here's what I want to leave you with. I want to leave you with an affirmation that I want you to say to yourself. And as always, if you can, put your hand on your heart, one hand on your heart and another hand on your womb. And I want you to say to yourself, I am no longer hiding. I am the head of the life I was destined for. I am no longer hiding. I am the head of the life I was destined for. So you have reset your soul. Now it's time for you to rise into the story that you want to create for yourself. And recognize that you don't have to do this alone. You are a part of a rising tide of women who are choosing softness and power at the same time, peace and presence at the same time. And you are the vision, you are the vessel, and you are already becoming. And so thank you for walking this Soul Reset series journey with me. And I will see you wherever spirit leads us next. And I hope it leads you back to me. And I hope I am able to be led to you. Ashe, it is done. It is over. Make sure you download the Soul Reset workbook. And I will talk to you another time. Peace.